Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to solve some mathematical problems. For our first problem, we must evaluate the limit of 2 minus x raised to the power of tangent multiplied to pi x over 2 as x approaches to 0. In order to solve this, we must substitute the x values into 0. As you can see here, x approaches to 0. So that is what I did. So x becomes 0 and x becomes 0. Now we are going to solve it. 2 minus 0 is 2. Pi multiplied by 0 is 0. 0 over 2 is 0. Tangent 0 is 0. So 2 raised to the power of 0 is 1. Any non-zero number raised to 0 is 1. So that is the answer to our first problem. For our second problem, we must find the derivative dy over dx of y is equals to the square root of 2 minus 3x using the definition of the derivative. So we are going to use the definition of the derivative formula here. So we have here our function. Now, the definition of the derivative formula is basically changing the x into x plus h and subtracting it to the original equation or the original function. So as you can see here, I substituted x to x plus h and I subtracted it by the original function over h. And as you can see here, it is now a limit as h approaches to 0. Now, for our second step, as you can see here, we are dealing with square roots. Now, to make it much simpler for us, we must find or we must conjugate it. So we take the opposite sign of this numerator and multiply it both to the numerator and the denominator. So from negative becomes positive. So we must multiply this to this and this to this. So as you can see here, multiplying the numerator to each other, we are going to use the FOIL method. This is our first, our outer, our inner, and our last. And here, denominator multiplied to the denominator, we have this. So I distributed the signs here, so this becomes negative, and here becomes negative 2 and positive 3x, as you can see here. Now we are going to cancel we're going to combine the like terms. So this gets cancelled, and we are going to distribute this negative 3, so it becomes negative 3x and negative 3h. After we did that, we're going to rewrite it as I have done here. So it becomes 2 minus 3x minus 3h minus 2 plus 3x. And here this can be still combined. So the only numerator remaining is negative 3h. Now as you can see here, negative 3h, it can be simplified further. So we can cancel the h here. So h gets cancelled. This is what remains. So this is what remains of our limit. As you can see here, we can't simplify it any further anymore. So here we will substitute all the h values into 0. That's what I did here. So 2 minus 3x plus 0 is this, square root of 2 minus 3x, plus, copy here, since there's no h, I did not substitute any, square root of 2 minus 3x. So this can be combined. It becomes 2 square root of 2 minus 3x. Now this cannot be simplified any further, so this is now our final answer. For our third problem, we must differentiate y is equals to x minus 1 multiplied to the square root of x squared minus 2x plus 2. So we can use here the product rule. This is the formula of the product rule. U multiplied to v prime and add it to v multiplied to v prime. So in this function, this is the u and this is the v. So the u is the x minus 1 and the v is the x squared minus 2x plus 2 raised to 1/2. So I converted it to exponential form to make it easier. So in order to get the u prime, we must find the first derivative of this. So it's the first derivative of x minus 1 is 1. And the first derivative of our v here, using the chain rule, I got the first derivative, which is x minus 1 over square root of x squared minus 2x plus 2. So now we can input it here in our formula. So this is the u, this is the v prime, this is the v, and this is the u prime. So multiplying it to each other, x minus 1 multiplied to x minus 1 becomes x minus 1 squared plus square root of x squared minus 2x plus 2 multiplied to 1 is still the same, square root of x squared minus 2x plus 2. Now with this, we can still further expand the x minus 1 squared. So expanding it, we would get x squared minus 2x plus 1 over the square root of x squared minus 2x plus 2 plus the square root of x squared minus 2x plus 2. Now here, we cannot simplify it any further. That means this is our first derivative. Here, for our fourth problem, we must find the slope of y is equals to x over x squared plus 4 at xy at 2 and 1/4. So in order to get the slope, we must first find the first derivative of the function and then input the x and y values. So we need to get first the first derivative of this function, and we can get it through the quotient rule. This is the formula for the quotient rule. So the product of v and u prime subtracted to the product of u and v prime over v squared. So x here will be our u and x squared plus 4 will be our v. So u prime is the derivative of the x or our u, so its derivative of x is 1. Now the derivative of x squared plus 4 is 2x. Now we have here the values. Now we can input it to our formula. So v is this, u prime is this, u is this, v prime is this, and v squared is this. So now we will multiply it. So x squared plus 4 multiplied by 1 is still x squared plus 4, and x multiplied to 2x is 2x squared. Now we are going to combine it. So first we need to distribute the negative here, so it becomes negative 2x. So x squared plus 4 minus 2x squared over x squared plus 4 squared. So we can still combine like terms here. So it becomes negative x squared plus 4 over x squared plus 4 squared. So now here we can, this is our first derivative. We can now plug our x and y values. Okay, now we will plug our x and y values into our first derivative. Now only x is relevant here, since in our equation only x is present, while y is not. So we'll substitute x to 2. So x becomes 2 and x becomes 2. So 2 squared is 4. Since you have a negative sign here, it becomes negative 4. Negative 4 plus 4 is equals to 0. And here for our denominator, 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 squared is 64. 0 divided by 64 is equals to 0. And this is now our slope. Thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new.